Hi there, ESPNFC post-game immediately following Nottingham Forest 0, Manchester United 2. Mark Donaldson alongside Stevie Nicol. A comprehensive victory for United in this one. Stevie, it could easily have been more as well. What did you make of United's performance in this one?
As we say, you can only beat what's put in front of you. And as far as what was put in front of them today, it wasn't an awful lot. I mean, Forest at home should be doing a lot more and giving a lot more. And I mean, that fan base in Nottingham is desperate to get behind them, but they don't give them anything. And then if you add on top of that, Manchester United, who actually knocked the ball around well, okay, you can say they were allowed to do it, but they knocked the ball around well, used the field, created lots of chances, should have scored more than the 2 goals, were thoroughly deserving of the victory. And probably, if you're a United fan, you want to play Forest every week. So it was comfortable. It's kind of hard to decipher where this performance is for United because Nottingham Forest was so poor. But I started with you can only beat what's put in front of you, and it was a comprehensive victory for Manchester United.
The United fans will see a former Liverpool player and go, oh yeah, okay, what's he going to say about us? Let's see if he can be positive about Manchester United. They could have had a lot more. How good was Bruno Fernandez today? Because he ran the show.
Yeah, he looked as though he was going to create or score every time he got on the ball. I mean, he had one shot that I mean, Keylor Navas for Forest was man of the match, surprise. And Fernandez from a well worked shot little corner, he's hit a ball from a wide area that looked in all the way. And Navas somehow got a fingertip to it and pushed it onto the crossbar. I mean, Fernandez could have scored, probably should have scored with his head, got himself in the box late, put a header wide, spraying passes around, arguing as per normal. It's always a good sign. If he's arguing, then he's into it. So, yeah, no, Fernandez just looked class today. No question. Eriksen, who wasn't supposed to start. Sabitzer got injured just before the game kicked off. So that was good for them to get Eriksen on the field, and he had about 70 odd minutes, and he looked good as well. Yeah, I mean everybody in a white jersey looked pretty good today, and no surprise really.
We were looking for someone to step up in place of Marcus Rashford, who was injured. Now Anthony's been playing before; he's playing on the opposite side from Marcus Rashford, but he got a goal and an assist, could have had more. There's an element of greed about his play, which a lot of people will like because he's always looking for a goal. Some of his teammates might say the pass might have been better, but he got the assist, he got his goal as well. What would you make of Anthony's all-round performance today?
Well, you can, again, I'm finding it really difficult to be ultra positive because the opposition that Manchester United were playing against today was I mean, they looked like relegation material on this performance, no question. And for a guy like Anthony, who no question has ability, has a lovely left peg, can cut in from that left-hand side and whip balls into the top corner. He's done it before, he's capable of it, but he needs to do more of it. And you can't complain, he scores a goal and he has an assist. But he wasn't playing against anything. And the truth is that he has to take this performance and replicate it every single time he steps on the field. If he does that, then we're talking about a different level of player here. As I said, there's no question he has ability. We have seen it, not as consistently as we should, but we saw it today. You can't argue with that. So on today's performance, yeah, again, he was a step above anything in a red jersey. But can he keep doing it game after game? That's the question, and that's what Anthony has to do. Produce what he did against Forest, regardless of the opposition, every time he steps on the field.
You've made a lot about the opposition, the lack of quality about Forest today. But from a United perspective, Manchester City went there, played similar, against a Forest side that weren't great and slipped up. So that second goal, when it did, was crucial. At times like this in the season, with United chasing top four, in good position now in third, 6 points clear of Spurs in fifth, having played a game less. Yeah, you want to win 4 or 5-0, but as you can see the table there, I mean, United in third spot, 6 points clear of Spurs, 9 points clear of Villa with a game in hand on both. You could play really well and not get all 3 points. So I see what you're saying about you can only beat what's in front of you.
Well,
but Forest got some good results this season at home at the City Ground.
It's the type of game that is perfect for this time of year. This is the time of year where there's no recovery. When you lose, you're running out of games and you don't get time to recover a bad result. And so to have a game like this and take advantage of it, the key for today is that they took advantage of a poor Nottingham Forest side. And good teams do that. You know, United are a good team, and they have good players. And today we saw the best of 3 or 4 United players. But the important thing is the position they find themselves in, particularly with the extra games, you know, the cup games, both the FA Cup and Europe. Then it's important that they do take advantage of days like this where you're not extended. And you can just go out and play your football and not be under any real pressure, because they weren't under any real pressure from the get-go today. And it's always good to create chances. And the fact that Rashford wasn't playing and they got a couple of goals will just generally give everybody confidence. So they took advantage of it, yes, but it's a nice time of the year to get a nice, easy game.
A goal-scoring fullback. It took me back to the late 80s and early 90s. A certain Stevie Nicol at Liverpool, bombing forward, getting among the goals. But we didn't expect it to be Diogo Dalot, who's in for Luke Shaw, who was injured today. Wan-Bissaka one side, and we wondered who would play at left back. It was Dalot. Took his goal well.
Yeah.
Did that remind you of anybody from the past that may have bombed forward from the fullback position?
Well, I won't argue that he took it well. He actually started off the move and finished it. And of course, most forwards would look at defenders when they get in that sort of position and say, go on then. But I'll tell you what, he made it look easy. He didn't panic, took a great first touch, picked his spot and delivered. I mean, it was a striker's finish from Dalot. You know, he did find himself today in the middle of the park a lot, and I'm wondering whether that was by design or whether that's just the way the game panned out, that he could step into the middle of the park. I've never seen him doing it before. In fact, Wan-Bissaka was doing it quite a bit as well. So again, from this game, it'll be interesting to see whether they take that, whether the fullbacks take that sort of positioning that we're seeing from Arsenal players and City players into bigger and tougher games. Whether United start doing that a bit more, or whether this was just a one-off because of the opposition.
Yeah, it's continually evolving. We've seen that under Erik ten Hag. He's worked on things, moved on to other things once he's got something in place. The bottom line is there's a lot of games coming up for Manchester United. You've got the second leg in Spain, in Andalusia against Seville. Bruno Fernandez will be a big miss. That was a nonsense decision, by the way, for his yellow card in the first game with a handball that he couldn't do anything about. But is it simply a case of Christian Eriksen might start, depending on Sabitzer's injury? How do you replace Bruno Fernandez with the influence he had today when you go to the Sanchez-Pizjuan on Thursday?
Well, you certainly don't replace him because they don't have anybody capable of doing the things that he does. What you have to do is find another way. I think the biggest blow for me would be the fact that with probably no Rashford, the problem United's having, or they're going to have, is putting the ball in the back of the net. And if somebody asks you who's more likely to do that, Fernandez is one of the first names that comes to mind. So, you know, they're going to have to figure out a way of getting other players into positions that he gets in order to either create or score goals. That would be the one thing that I would be worried if I'm Ten Hag. The fact that you don't have Bruno Fernandez, somebody else is going to have to step in. Christian Eriksen's been out. Is he capable of yet, or is he going to be sharp enough yet to step in and do that? It was always obviously nice for United that Sabitzer scored 2 goals against Sevilla during the week, which means that he's shown that he's capable. Anthony scoring today again, yes. Can he get on a run and go through a run of games scoring every time? Can Sancho start scoring goals? You know, I thought Sancho should have scored after not even 60 seconds of today's game against Forest. So there's a lot of questions of who is going to pick up the mantle that Bruno Fernandez has left as far as creating and scoring goals is concerned.
Yeah, there's a stat that United has got an 88% win ratio when Casemiro, Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandez start together. Obviously, no Bruno in midweek. What about defence today? Cast your eagle eye, your expert eye over a defence that didn't have 3 of their first choice back 4, but with David De Gea getting his 14th clean sheet of the season, which leads the Premier League, they're in safe hands at the back. What about Maguire and Lindelof in central defence? What did you make of them today? And do you have confidence going forward if they have to play more often than not?
Again, lovely day to play against anybody. You know, De Gea. I won you had a couple of half chances in today's game, and that's it. So it's not a surprise that De Gea kept a clean sheet. Again, he would love to play against that forward line every week, as would Maguire and Lindelof. I thought Maguire took a little bit of time to settle. I think after about 5 minutes, he was on his own with the last man with the ball, had a horrible touch, and when you closed him down, that was not a clever moment. So it took Maguire 10 or 15 minutes for me to get settled in. Lindelof, I thought, was solid. And the longer the game went on, the more comfortable that not only them, but the back line looked, just because the opposition weren't really threatening. So, again, good game to play to get yourself back in tune. The question is against better opposition, against sharper players in particular, because I think the one thing with Lindelof and Maguire is a partnership. Anybody with real pace is going to give them problems in and around their feet. So the jury's still out. They did fine today. No real problems. Opposition helps. Didn't cause them too many problems. So, yeah, tick the box today. It worked today. Clean sheet today, yes. But, again, the opposition was particularly poor.
Tougher tasks lie ahead. Let's wrap this up. I just want to take another look at the top half of the league table, or the top 6. United aren't going to blow this, are they? I mean, look at where they are right now with a 6-point lead over Spurs and a game in hand. Would you be surprised if that top 4 isn't the top 4 come the end of the season, regardless of which order? And it's Man City, Arsenal, Man United and Newcastle, England's Champions League representatives next season?
I wouldn't be surprised, because trying to figure out week to week who's going to be in the top 4 is becoming impossible, because it changes week upon week. I mean, it really does. I mean, Spurs losing to Bournemouth at home the way they did, in some ways isn't a shock, because they've been springing these sort of results all year, but you just don't see it coming. And United today looked like a side that are absolutely top 4 material. But then they've got what, another 4 away games coming in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Plus they're going to have they've got 2 different cup competitions to play in as well. So that's going to be tough on the legs. It's very difficult to predict what's going on with this top 4. Listen, Arsenal, Man City, no question, are first and second. But after that, it's between, in my opinion, it's between the three that are there, Newcastle, United and Spurs. And if one of them puts a run together, then guaranteed they'll be in. But right now, you're just a little unsure. Of the three of them, you're probably more confident with United. But as I said, the fact that they've got a lot of games, a lot of away games and other cup competition games, is going to hurt them. But Newcastle and the Spurs are tough to predict right now. So I'm not even going to predict. It's impossible. It just changes from week to week. So I'm just going to look stupid again this week if I tell you something that by next week I change my mind again.
Well, the one team you haven't mentioned is Aston Villa. They're the form team. Newcastle have still got to face Liverpool. They've still got to face Spurs as well. Villa are flying. They've just beaten Newcastle. No one's really talking about them. And they're only 6 points behind Newcastle in 6th. So who knows? As you say, Stevie, it's very difficult to predict who's going to win the title, who's going to finish top 4. That's what makes it so enjoyable. Manchester United's performance today, excellent against Nottingham Forest. And by the Trent, United get all 3 points in a 2-0 win over Forest.